Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Well, don't worry about my shirt being wrinkled. It's all good. You all been through it every once in a while. The Knicks lost one tonight that they probably should have gotten. They probably should have won it. They lost to the Charlotte Hornets. And there's some questions. Some questions that need to be asked. I doubt we'll get the answers. But there's some questions, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and get to the game and do what we usually do. And then we'll get to it. Don't be afraid to call in 516-452-2246. Join me in the whereby.com/NBK. I want to hear from you tonight, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's go ahead and break this game down as we usually do. The Knicks took that L to the Charlotte Hornets. Let's go.
That's the G.
And as expected, the Charlotte Hornets gave a tribute to Kobe Bryant. Remember, Kobe Bryant was drafted by the Charlotte Hornets, and then he was traded to the Los Angeles Lakers for Vlade Divac. Probably the worst move that the Charlotte Hornets could have done. Hey, listen, they thought that they were on the cusp of a championship with Larry Johnson and Alonzo Mourning. They traded Kobe Bryant. And you see the tribute had to be emotional in the building. Had to be an emotional event, and I'm pretty sure fans felt the same way that we felt Sunday night when they did a tribute to Kobe Bryant at Madison Square Garden. As you see Kobe on the board, and you see the Charlotte Hornets tonight, they wore 8 and 24 on their sleeves to represent Kobe Bryant. So, always that's going to put some perspective on the game as we continue to celebrate the life of Kobe Bryant, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to continue to put a perspective on the game. But you got to get on with it. It has to be done, as you see Charlotte Hornets introducing their players for the night, and signs of Kobe all over the place. The coaches rocking sneakers, Kobe sneakers. This will be going on all season long. Let's get to the game, ladies and gentlemen. The Knicks were taking on the Charlotte Hornets in Charlotte. 13 and 34 with the Knicks on the season. The Hornets 15 and 31. And both teams, of course, take a 24-second shot clock violation and honor Kobe Bryant. In honor of Kobe Bryant. And there's going to be a lot of this going on around the league for a very long time. And it's well-deserved. Very, very well-deserved. I don't know if it's going to happen before every game. I'm sure every team that did not get a chance to honor Kobe in this manner is going to do the same. You see fans holding signs that say, R.I.P. Kobe. We love you, Kobe, Black Mamba. Rightfully so. Rest in peace, Kobe Bryant, and everyone who lost their lives on January 26, 2020. Marcus Morris, he knocks down the first shot of the game for the New York Knicks. And the Knicks, early on, hey, there was balling, man. Julius Randle, he takes it to the cup, lays it in. You see Terry Rozier out at the top of the key. Terry Rozier, he goes in, bang, he knocks one home. Terry Rozier could have been a New York Knicks, ladies and gentlemen. The Knicks are up 4. The Knicks are down 5-4 now, but they were up 4-3. Julius Randle puts the Knicks back up 6-5. Yes, Terry Rozier could have been a Knick. Didn't end up being a Knick, but he could have been a Knick. Again, Julius Randle getting his work done down low as he fades away. knocks one in. 8-8. Julius Randle, one more time with the fadeaway, knocks one in. Julius Randle is being much more decisive with the way that he shoots the ball, the way that he goes to the basket, and those type of things, as Reggie Bullock scores on the break. Nice play by Reggie Bullock. The Knicks go up and take a big lead. 20-9 right now, the Knicks are up. You see, Willie Hernangomez, the former New York Knick, get a putback. Julius Randle, the ball out at the top, out on the wing, goes to the basket and lays it up for Mitch Robinson. 24-13, the Knicks are up. Dennis Smith Jr. getting playing time tonight. As you see, Malik Monk gets a nice pass on the break for a layup for the Charlotte Hornets. Bobby Portis in the mid-post knocks down a mid-range jump shot. The Knicks with a nice lead, 26-15. Second quarter changes things a little bit for the Knicks and the Charlotte Hornets. All right, 28-17, the Knicks hold the lead for a little while. Kevin Knox, he misses the three-point shot. Dennis Smith Jr. is active, ladies and gentlemen. You see he's, kind of active, moving well. He had some nice speed at some points. And, a lot of people wondered, Dennis Smith Jr., the first guard off the bench, not Frank. Questions were asked, ladies and gentlemen. Questions were asked. 34-21, the Knicks have a 13-point lead. But it wouldn't be that long. It wouldn't last. That's the problem with these New York Knicks, man. They have the ability to do some things. They just can't be consistent. Terry Rozier takes it to the cup. Terry Rozier tonight, ladies and gentlemen, he had 30 points on the night. He killed us. He also had 10 rebounds. Terry Rozier was 9 for 17 from the field. 10 rebounds, had 1 assist. Yeah, Terry Rozier could have been a Knick. Now, I don't know if you want Terry Rozier to be a Knick. I'm just saying, he could have been a Knick. I don't know what it would look like with this crew. You see Julius Randle there. Wasn't sure if he was going to pass or shoot it. Ended up shooting it and getting the foul. 43-34, the Knicks are up with 3 minutes left in the second quarter. The Knicks are up by 9. The Hornets go on a run, 46-39. In the paint, Malik Monk, he puts one in. Malik Monk is somebody who, could have been auditioning for the Knicks. The Hornets could have been auditioning Malik Monk, and the Knicks could have been auditioning Dennis Smith Jr. You never know. Those guys could be swapped. Hey, if those guys get swapped, I'll take it. I'll take that. Julius Randle goes to the cup with a nice move and puts it in. It's 50-50 to begin the third quarter, ladies and gentlemen, as Marcus Morris steps back and knocks down a nice step-back jump shot. Marcus Morris had 23 points on the night. It's 9 for 20. He was 4 for 13 from 3. But the Hornets won't go away. It's Terry Rozier. He knocks down another three-point shot. Terry Rozier, look, he shoots 38.9% or something like that for the season from the three-point line. And tonight, he was 4 for 8. It was 50% tonight. As you see, Bridges brings one home. Taj Gibson, under the basket, kicks it back out to Reggie Bullock. Reggie Bullock knocks one down. It's 61-60. Hornets are up. Julius Randle, he misses. But Dennis Smith Jr., he's active. He puts one in. 64-63. Knicks are up. Marcus Morris takes it inside, pulls up, knocks it down. That's what Marcus Morris can do, ladies and gentlemen. The Hornets step back. Bam. Another 3. The Knicks are down 66. The Knicks are up 66-65. And then there you go. Cody Martin. He puts one home to put the Hornets back on top. And the game kept going back and forth throughout this third and fourth quarter, ladies and gentlemen. The Knicks could never find a way to just put it away as Willie Hernangomez knocks one down. The former Knick, the former, remember people thought Hernangomez was going to be our future center. He was going to be our center, into the future. That didn't happen, did it? And to see Cody Martin take it coast to coast to coast, and get a dunk. 77-70. The Charlotte Hornets are up in the fourth quarter. Marcus Morris with the pass from Elfrid Payton. Again, Marcus Morris had 23 points. Elfrid Payton had 10 points and 8 assists. He also had 8 rebounds on the night, did Elfrid Payton. Almost a triple-double. 79-72, the Hornets are up, and they've kind of taken control of this game here at this point. As you see, Cody Zeller gets the oop. And my bad, yeah, that was Cody Zeller. My bad. Cody Zeller gets the hoop. Nice quick move to the baseline, to the basket by Julius Randle. Julius Randle tonight had 24 points. Only 5 rebounds for Julius Randle tonight. Only 5 rebounds for Julius Randle. 84-74, the Hornets are up. Julius Randle, once again, he kicks it out to Frank Ntilikina. There was a Frank Ntilikina sighting in the fourth quarter. You know, they used Frank Ntilikina finally when they needed some defense to help slow these guards down. But it was just too little too late. Let's see Cody Zeller lay one in. It was just too little too late to bring Frank Ntilikina in at this point. Frank Ntilikina tonight played 3 minutes and 5 seconds. Now, the thought is that the Knicks were showcasing Dennis Smith Jr. to the Charlotte Hornets. Right, that's the thought. Terry Rozier from the line. Terry Rozier was super solid from the line tonight, ladies and gentlemen. From the line, he was 8 for 8. He knocked down every free throw down the stretch of the game as the Knicks were trying to find themselves back into this game. And the Knicks played it the right way down the stretch, fouling. And then they hit a few three-point baskets to try to keep it tight. But Terry Rozier, that guy right there, continued to knock down free throw after free throw to make sure that they to make sure that they sealed the victory. As you see, Damian Dotson knock one down. Terry Rozier knocks down the free throws. Damian Dotson knocks down another one to try to bring it close. But again, it's going to be that man gets free. Terry Rozier goes to the line, knocks down 2 more to seal the victory for the Charlotte Hornets, ladies and gentlemen. Terry Rozier was solid tonight. 30 points from Terry Rozier. He did it for the Charlotte Hornets, ladies and gentlemen. He was the guy that was able to close the game. We weren't able to do so. As the Knicks lose to the Charlotte Hornets. I'll quickly run down these box scores for you. And then we'll talk about the game. Obviously, people want to talk about, Frank Ntilikina, Dennis Smith Jr., why Dennis Smith Jr. Was played over Frank Ntilikina. I think it's pretty clear and obvious why he played over Frank Ntilikina, but, we'll talk about it. Anyway, for the Knicks tonight, Marcus Morris, he had 23 points. He also had 4 rebounds and 1 assist. Julius Randle had 24 points. He had 5 rebounds. Julius Randle was 10 for 19 from the field. He scored most of his points in the first half of the game. Julius Randle was also 0 for 3 from the three-point line. Taj Gibson, he had 3 points, 3 rebounds. Reggie Bullock had 6 points. Elfrid Payton had 10 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. Mitchell Robinson had 4 points and 10 rebounds. He also had 5 blocked shots. Damian Dotson had 6 points. Dennis Smith Jr. had 7. Kevin Knox had 2. Bobby Portis had 4 points. And Frank Ntilikina had 3 points. Wayne Ellington and Alonzo Trier did not play. The Charlotte Hornets, Terry Rozier had 30 points, 10 rebounds tonight. Devontae Graham, he only had 5 points. He was only 1 for 8 from the field. He wasn't hitting, but he also had 10 assists. Cody Zeller had 10 points. P.J. Washington, 3 points. And Miles Bridges had 15 points. Malik Monk had 13 points tonight. Malik Monk was my X factor. And he didn't drop a whole bunch of buckets, but he got his little 13 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists. He was 4 for 12 from the field. Dwayne Bacon had 2 points. Willie Hernan-Gomez, another guy that people thought maybe the Charlotte Hornets were showcasing Hernan-Gomez, not to us, but to other teams around the league. He had 12 points and 10 rebounds. The problem with Hernan-Gomez has always been his defense. He's not a good defender. He's a good rebounder. He can score in the post and he can shoot the 3. It's always been his defense. His defense is not good. Marvin Williams, he had 2 points. Cody Martin, he had 5 points. And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is the story of the game. The Knicks lose to the Charlotte Hornets tonight. The Knicks shot 44.2% from the field. They shot 28.1% from the three-point line. They shot 63.6% from the free throw line. Look, the Charlotte Hornets didn't shoot well, but they were able to pull the game out. All right? The Charlotte Hornets, they shot 38.6% from the field. And they shot 25% from 3. The only person that was really shooting well from three, Miles Bridges was 2 for 5, and Terry Rozier was 4 from 8. You know what the difference in this game is, ladies and gentlemen? Rebounds. And I talked about that in my game preview. These are two bad shooting teams, which means you got to be the team that wins the rebounding battle, and the Knicks did not win the rebounding battle tonight. Charlotte Hornets had 51 rebounds. The Knicks had 41 rebounds. Now, here's the thing. The Charlotte Hornets came into this game over the last 5 games. They came into this game averaging 39 rebounds per game. 39. They managed to grab 51 against the Knicks. Now, they were desperate for a win. No doubt about it. Desperate to get a win. Right? They had lost 8 straight. They needed a win. They wanted a win. They got the win. They got the win. Nate, I'm coming to you, man. Give me 1 second. Let me get you unmuted. All right, and then you can let me know how you felt about the game, and we could talk about a few things. All right, Nate, go ahead, man. What's up?
What's up, man? Well, I jinxed us because I said that we had the chances of winning all those games, and here we go, losing the first game. Man, I don't know, man. I don't know what this team is trying to do. I mean, I think the defense was decent. Offensively, we struggled a lot. I'm not sure why Ntilikina only got 3 minutes or whatever minutes he got. Can't tell me Dennis Smith's a better defender than Ntilikina is. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm just frustrated with how they treat Ntilikina. And like I said before, man, if you ain't going to play the guy, you might as well just trade him. I'm at that point to where I just, this New York's just doesn't believe in him. And so it's just time for him to go and maybe go be better somewhere else. And then the Knicks brass will feel guilty for themselves by letting him go at 21 years old. But
I think it was more about the prospect of trading Dennis Smith Jr. Maybe.
Well, that could be true, but I mean, really, how much stock is he going to rise in the next week or so?
Well, let's put it like this. Let's just say that the Knicks and the Charlotte Hornets were in discussions about Dennis Smith Jr. and Malik Monk. I'm just using that for an example. They may say, "Hey, can you play Dennis Smith Jr. tonight? Because we want to take a closer look at him."
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I don't want Malik Monk, dude. I want nothing to do with that guy. I mean, that's just Dennis Smith Jr. 2.0, in my opinion. It was maybe a little bit better jump shot. I don't want anything to do with the guy. I mean,
well, I'll say this: if you're trading, and I don't know if you're swapping those two.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's an issue, right? If you're just swapping those two, I don't know if there's an issue with that. To me, there's not much of an issue with just swapping those two.
Well, we have a lot of guards already, man. So, I mean, where does he fit?
I don't know. I mean, that's a good question.
Too short to be a 3. So, I mean, can't play point guard. I mean, I know people try to make him a point guard, but I think he's more of a 2. I mean, but where does he fit? I mean, we have Barrett. We were talking about Reggie Bullock and Damian Dotson. I mean, we already have a problem there. I mean, adding Monk to that position, I mean, now you got a real big problem. It doesn't make sense to me, man. But I'm not a GM, so I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, let's put it like this. The roster is going to change. It may not change a lot, but it's going to change, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be some small changes or whatever it is, or maybe there's going to be some big changes as we get in, as we go into next season. But the roster is going to change, and who knows if Alonzo Trier is going to be here, right? Malik Monk is probably making about the same amount of money as Alonzo Trier.
That's true.
Right, so maybe Alonzo Trier is not on the is no longer on their radar. I don't know. Right, so maybe they're looking at that. That he can come in and play that role. I don't know.
I
You know,
mean, there's no
I
doubt. There's
have
no
a
doubt that teams are considering looking at Dennis Smith Jr. for the right price because the guy is 21, and if he can just get his jump shot right, I mean, the guy could be a factor for a team. But the thing about it is, what are you willing to give up for a guy like Dennis Smith Jr., who right now has no confidence in himself, no jump shot, plays lick of defense, not really a big passer either. I mean, you're basically trading for a prospect or a potential prospect rather than somebody who probably should be more far along than he is.
Yeah, that's true. We'll see, man. We'll see.
Yeah.
The rest of the game.
It was a tough one, man. I really thought we were going to win this game, bro. I mean, like you gave in the preview the numbers and said Charlotte had one of the worst offenses. At times it didn't look like it, man. It just, like you said, rebounding killed us. And, those guards, I mean, Rozier had a good game. I don't
Rozier
think
had
we
a
talked very
good
much about
game.
Rozier.
Devontae Graham didn't exactly have a good game.
Yeah. He had 10 assists.
He did have 10 assists, though. I'll give him that. He had 10 assists. Yeah. He may not have had a great game, but he did have 10 assists. What
did Peyton finish with for the game?
Elfrid Payton, I think he finished with, let me see. Elfrid Payton finished with 10 points, 8 assists, and 8 rebounds. I mean,
what did Bullock have?
Wasn't bad for him, but he just doesn't give us everything that we need. Listen, the Knicks, man, 97-92, they lost to the Charlotte Hornets tonight in a game that most of us figured was going to be a win for the Knicks. We talked a lot about in the game preview. We talked about their defense. How their defense over the last 5 games have been, a top 5 defense in the league. We talked about their offense still being, suspect, right? And we know that. But this was a game, I mean, the Charlotte Hornets came in really riding a low. And just like Clyde said, though, you hate to play teams like that because, at some point they got to come up with a win. And you don't want it to be against you.
Which it was.
But tonight it was against the Knicks.
Surprise,
right?
surprise.
So you hate playing teams like that, man. You hate playing teams like that. Again, just looking at the matchups of the Knicks' biggest lead was 13. The biggest lead by the Hornets was 10. The Knicks out-rebounded, ladies and gentlemen. And that right there is key to me because neither of these teams really shoot well from the field. So that means you got to be ready to get rebounds, and the Knicks were out-rebounded. As a matter of fact, the Charlotte Hornets got 16 offensive rebounds to the Knicks 7, and that's a problem.
That's the difference right there.
That's the difference, man, because when you look at the defensive rebounds, the Knicks had 34, the Charlotte Hornets had 35, right? So the difference is those offensive rebounds. Those 16 offensive rebounds, I'll take a look and see how many second chance points that the Charlotte Hornets had, but that's the cause of however many second chance points that they had.
How do we do on the 3-point line? What were the numbers on the 3-point?
We shot like 28% from the 3-point line. We're not shooting well from the 3-point line ever. So
how do we defend it?
How did the Knicks defend the 3-point line?
Yeah, how did the Knicks defend the 3-point line?
Well, the Charlotte Hornets don't shoot well either. They shot 25% from the 3-point line.
Okay.
But they're not a good shooting team. But Terry Rozier, he was 4 for 8.
Yeah.
He was 4 for 8 from the 3-point line. It's the Knicks, man. What are you gonna do? This is what we do. This is how we do it.
Every time we give them accolades and we think that they're turning the corner, they go lose to a team like Charlotte. Man. It's just this is the season, man. It is what it is.
Yeah. Looking at we can look at the. I don't even need to look at the box score once again because I already know what it is. So no sense in looking at the box
Hornets,
score.
Man, let's just leave it alone.
We lost to the Hornets, and we should not have. But and that's the whole. The Knicks are inconsistent, and that's the whole reason when we took a look at their upcoming schedule, we talked about the possibility of them, winning a few games. It's the reason why they can't do it.
Right.
It's the reason why they can't do it, because they're just so inconsistent. You don't know what team is going to show up on a night. Sometimes you don't know what team is going to show up by quarter.
The problem is, man, we're missing Barrett bad. I mean, we don't have a guard that can get that kind of penetration that Barrett
Yes,
can
we
do
do.
at times.
We do.
Peyton?
Alonzo Trier can do it.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
Right. He may not do the same exact things as RJ Barrett, and I'm not saying that he's as good as RJ Barrett. But if what you're looking for is getting to the cup, Alonzo Trier can get to the cup.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right. If that's what you're looking for, then Alonzo Trier can get to the cup.
You know, man, I really think that they're going to trade him. I think that
they're going to trade who?
I think it's Trier.
Oh. Well,
he's probably outside of Morris, man. He's probably got the most potential. At least people, know that the guy can play. I mean, he just needs the opportunities. I think he holds higher value than other players that we're maybe talking about trading, because he's young and he's shown abilities to be able to, do things. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what this front office is doing, man. It's really scary right now because nobody knows what's going on, what they're doing or anything like that. So it's basically a crapshoot right now.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we don't know the direction of the team or what's happening. And look, people are asking about, what's the direction of the team. We're not going to know the direction until.
Yeah, we don't know, man.
Until the season is over,
before we figure it out.
And you bring in a new regime that can, you bring in a new regime that can help us to develop a direction. So we're not going to know what that is for a while. All right. So right now it's like we're just meddling around. We're just meddling. We're just trying to get through the remainder of the season. I feel like.
Just going through the motions, bro. Going through the motions, man. That should be our mantra the rest of the year. Just going through the motions.
We're trying to get through the rest of the season. James Dolan trying to get through the rest of the season to see, I guess to make a decision. I don't know. I have no idea. You know what I'm saying? And listen, I'm going to be really, really highly upset if he pulls off something the way that he did with Phil Jackson. You know what I'm saying? He let Phil Jackson get to the draft Frank Ntilikina, which I'm okay with Frank Ntilikina. It's just the process, right? You let him get to the draft Frank Ntilikina, and then fired him. You know what I'm saying? So it's not about Frank Ntilikina. It's about the process.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I listen, I don't want the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want the same thing. I do not want. If he's gonna keep these guys on, just let everybody know we're gonna keep these guys on.
I think they got to figure this out before free agency or the draft, man. I mean, we gotta make sure we have stuff in play, man. The coach too.
Course.
I mean, you've got nothing to advertise if you got no coach, no front office. I mean, no player's gonna want to come here if they know that kind of instability right now.
Of course. Let me get to Guillermo. Guillermo, what's going on, man?
Same old, man. Same old. Tonight, man, I'm thoroughly convinced that this boy Mike Miller, I'm thoroughly convinced that he's being told to play, man, because it just doesn't make sense. Some of these rotations, right? Frank doesn't come in and say what you want. Graham didn't have a great game, but you had guys like Terry Rozier producing, and you need guys to kind of disrupt the perimeter, right? Everything kind of runs through right now through Rozier, Graham. Not everything, but the ball kind of starts with those two guys. And they have other guys like PJ Washington, and it's just upsetting to see some of these rotations, man. Like you didn't see Frank, you didn't see Trier. You know what I mean? Then again resetting on defense where we just get killed on the perimeter. I forgot the stat they put up for the Hornets, but I think they're like one of the worst scoring teams or something like that. I can't remember what the stat was that Walt Clyde said. And it's like you see the rotations from them on the perimeter. You see them passing the ball, dribble drive. We lose our man, and all of a sudden, and we let guys like Monk we let him penetrate to the basket and all this stuff. It's like, dude, I know he's trying to find his resurgence because he's about to get traded, but I'm not convinced that Monk has really turned a corner. You know what I mean? So you can't allow that guy to penetrate to the basket for layups, for slashes. This doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? So again, it's going to take a long while. It's going to take a draft. It's going to take a free agency again to get the proper players. I hope it's not with this new regime because if they really thought that they could get to the playoffs by getting 4 power forwards, then they really were not paying attention to what the hell happened last year. They really have no finger on the button. You know what I mean, when it comes to what this team needs and what the development or lack of development was last year. But all in all, I really think Mike Miller's being hamstrung. I did write down a few notes. I did see some impressive cuts to the basket. I think it was in the third quarter by the Knicks. Obviously, don't run enough of it. Also, Morris tonight, and it's the thing with Morris, right? Some of these shots go in, it's fine, but he took some abysmal shots in the fourth quarter when the Hornets were making their run, and there was really no rhyme or reason to it in terms of timing, in terms of the tempo of the game, rhythm of the game was kind of going to Hornets' favor. You needed to slow it down. They went back to Julius Randle, which I thought was smart because Julius Randle first half just looked really good. Drive to the basket, the bully ball, quick decisions, quick slash to the basket. He looked really good tonight, and I thought we made a big mistake going away from that in the third quarter because I think he scored his first points in the second half in the fourth quarter, which was just stupid. You know what I mean?
Right.
You get when the team is making a comeback, because obviously we can't keep 15-point leads. We just don't know how to keep leads like that. When that's happening, when the team is coming back and hitting these quick shots and stuff, and they're not really setting up, what you want to do is kind of slow down the tempo, give your team some time to breathe, get them into foul trouble. Hopefully, either get one of their tougher rim protectors in foul trouble, or maybe even one of their scorers in foul trouble. Getting one of the top scorers in foul trouble is kind of tough unless you switch, and we don't switch smartly. If you want to see that happen, go back to the Blazers game we played in the first. They're really smart in terms of getting Melo to switch and get into the post. We don't do that. But, I thought they really did this service by not getting Julius Randle back, getting the ball, and forcing the issue to him because they really had no answer for him. But, all in all, it's just another crap game. So rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. I mean, that's only, I just whatever.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, another game that they just couldn't. And I don't even want to say figure it out down the stretch. They lost this game in the second quarter. At the end of the second quarter, when they let the Charlotte Hornets start going on a run, they started going on a run, and then all of a sudden, the tides are changing, and in the game, the momentum is shifting, and then it carried over on into the third quarter. You know what I'm saying? Where the momentum shifted, and the Knicks could never get it back. And the Knicks they do not have the kind of offensive firepower when they get down. They really don't have the offensive firepower. Now, neither do the Charlotte Hornets. Tonight, I mean, they still only scored 97 points, the Charlotte Hornets did. And they got I think they came into this game like 30th in the league in offensive rating. The last 5 games, they were 30th in the league in offensive rating. That was the Charlotte Hornets coming into this game. And then, we let one guy basically go ahead and bring it home for them. I mean, they did have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys in double digits. We had 3 guys in double digits. But, Terry Rozier was basically the man for them tonight, and he finished us off down the stretch by hitting free throws, Yeah,
I just don't understand, I know DSJ. I mean, DSJ didn't have a bad night at all. He had some nice slash to the basket. He looks healthier, which is one thing. So I think that back issue is probably is getting a little bit better because he did look better going to basket. I don't think he made any great, point guard plays per se to say he's really changing, but it's better to see him healthy, right? But I just want to say, why isn't Trier playing? Like, I just don't understand why a guy like Trier isn't playing. Like, it's just upset. I hope it's that because they want to showcase some of these guys and trade them off. But Trier's second half, I think, needs to be a bigger part of this offense. Because remember when Walt Clyde was saying that we were shooting, it was either him or Breen, I can't remember, but they were saying like we were shooting like 2 for something from the 3-point line, but like 12 for 17 from the 2. I think maybe this is in the second quarter he said this. And it seemed like the theme was like we weren't going to force the issue anymore until it became a little bit too late, right? Obviously, I mean, you're trying to match points with points, but if you're down, obviously you kind of need the 3. But, I just kind of got upset that we didn't force that issue to get it to Randall, get it to some of our guys closer to the paint because they really had no answer for Randall. Like I'm amazed, and this is the thing I get mad at is because you want to see some modicum of like, all right, this year might be a wash, but what can we carry into next year? If we have these players, we have Randall who's probably going to most likely be here next year. What is it that we can carry into next year? All right, we learn how to adjust and do this, and now it works two ways, right? We know that when this situation, this context occurs, we go to Julius Randle, we go to, Mitch, you go to this person in this context, and then that same context, it makes that person a lot more confident. All right, I know when this happens, they're gonna get the ball to me. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna set the right pick. You know what I mean? So it's just, you want to see those developmental things, especially if Mike Miller's going to be here next year, and if James Dolan's not going to fire, the front office and bring in a new regime. So it's tough because you want to judge Mike Miller, right? But if Mike Miller's truly being hamstrung by Mills and Perry, and he really doesn't know what's going on for the future, you know what I mean? How can you really judge him? You know what I mean? So it's tough.
You can't.
Yeah, it's annoying too, man, because you want it like Frank Ntilikina. I know it was the game right the day of Kobe's death, but even I think it was Walt said Frank had a really good game. Why isn't he playing? He had a really good game last game, and it was an aggressive good game. First shot he comes in, hits a three. You know what I mean? And these are things again like last year, the same thing with Fizdale, and this is why I think it's a Perry and a Mills, most likely a Mills thing, because the same thing happened last year. Dotson was averaging 15 points for 5 games. Fizdale stopped playing him. You know what I mean? And we talk about getting these guys confidence, getting these guys. So if I sit there, and I don't know what Frank had in the game against the Nets, but I'm pretty sure it was efficient because we're all watching like, oh damn, Frank is killing it. You know what I mean? He has an efficient game, and it's aggressive, which is one of the weaknesses that everyone talks about. And you sit him for most of the game. And even when it's crucial until the fourth quarter, you know what I mean? So it's like, how can I build up my confidence if you're being inconsistent with what you want me to improve on? And when I improve on it, you don't play me. Like,
yeah. Nah, I feel you, man. I feel you. And listen, I mean, tonight would be proof, of course, that they are telling Mike Miller, who to play, at least in some situations. If in fact they were showcasing Dennis Smith Jr. to the Charlotte Hornets or whoever else was scouting or watching the game, then, that would be, listen, Mike Miller's not going to say, hey, I'm going to showcase Dennis Smith Jr. so we can possibly trade him. He's not going to make that decision. It's the front office that would make that decision. So.
I'll put it like this. I'll give a compliment to Trier on the bench. I'm not trying to disparage him, but he was a good cheerleader. I saw him yelling and, praising guys when guys shot threes and that stuff. So it's not an attitude thing. So I hope it is a second half kind of thing because, these are the guys you're going to bring in for next year. Obviously you want the guys you're going to be in next year to get that continuity, that growth or whatever. But right now, man, it's just ugly basketball. And put like this is an indictment on the front office, man. Like, dude, how are you bring all these guys, and then you had a playoff mandate, a soft playoff mandate, I should say, and you expected these guys to gel immediately? Like that you bring in so many free agents that never – I can't remember the last team where you brought in a bunch of free agents and they went to the playoffs. Now, we have instances where you draft a guy like Larry Bird and they change the whole franchise, go to the playoffs the next year, you know what I mean? Or maybe in 3 years, LeBron James, stuff like that. But it's like, bro, what were you guys thinking that would have given you any indication that getting 4 power forwards and a guy who, don't get me wrong, I like Alfred Payton, but he's a backup at this point. And you're thinking that's going to carry you through. And the last season, you really had no shining gems on that team. Like, you know what I mean? Mitchell Robinson, yes, he's a center, but offensive, you can say he's limited. Like, he's not Cat, right? So it's like, all right, he's a good defender, good weak side defender, finisher at the rim in terms of alley-oops and stuff. But it's like, what the hell were these guys looking at last year? It's like, Sim, why can't I'd rather hire you, Sim, and that's not even a diss to you. I'd rather hire you because I've seen you make better poignant points with regards to the construction of a team than I've seen with these idiots in the front office. I'd actually pay to watch you GM this team, Sim, because this is like, bro, every game is like you become numb to it, but then when you try to feel bad for the Knicks again or like try to come back and like, all right, analyze stuff, it's like these guys were the idiots. But whatever. I know you got other calls, so let me not keep going, man. But
yeah, one thing I do want to get on. I'm gonna tell you what I want to get on. I'm really starting to be upset with these 3-point with this 3-point shooting stuff.
Well, us shooting or us defending?
I mean, no, I'm talking about just the rules in the NBA altogether with this 3-point shooting.
Oh, the Morris thing.
You know what I mean? Because like that Morris foul, to me, it should not have been a foul. Right? I mean, that's his regular shooting motion.
Malik, you mean it should have been a foul?
I think it shouldn't have been a foul on Marcus Morris. It should not have been an offensive foul.
I'm sorry, yes. I'm thinking opposite, that it should have been a foul on the other guy who bumped into him.
Yeah, it should have been a foul on I think it was Malik Monk. It should have been a foul on Malik Monk, not on Marcus Morris. You know what I'm saying? That's a terrible call. And it's happening both ways, right? Where, guys trying to play defense are ending up fouling when sometimes the player's kicking a foot out, and then guys like that with Marcus Morris are getting a foul when he shouldn't have got the foul. You know what I'm saying? They really got to come up with a way, because when you have someone who's closing out a lot of times, the player jumps up, they jump straight up, and then they land past the 3-point line, right? And then the player who's closing out, he ends up getting called for a foul, even though he did not actually jump. That player's supposed to go straight up and straight down when they shoot the jump shot. Straight up and straight down. You know what I'm saying? When you land forward, now you're actually going into the space of the defender. Right? Now, it seems like maybe that's what they called Marcus Morris, but Marcus Morris, he didn't even get a chance to land really before he got hit. I think it was a bad call. I think it was a bad call.
One day you're gonna come around to my side and realize the Knicks are not gonna get any calls as long as Dolan is in there. Because I've seen that play with the kick out with the other. I've seen James Harden get it. And the only time I've really seen them call against is when the media puts attention, is like, all right, come on, this is ridiculous. And then maybe the refs call for maybe a few games the other way. But in terms of, like, Sim, we in terms of fouls, it's like we're never going to get the benefit of it. I saw a play tonight. I think it was Alfred Payton driving. I can't remember who the point guard was. He grabbed him, and, like, he's still driving. You can see his body kind of, like, still go with the guys, and he had to keep driving, and there was no foul call. And when it happens with the Knicks, I've seen the quickest whistle against us. So
the Knicks are down 88-79. Marcus.
Oh, sorry about that. Go ahead. Keep talking.
Good. No. It's just we're not. Sim, call me a conspiracy theorist, but as long as Dolan is in there, we're not getting those calls, man. We're not getting the superstar calls. RJ Barrett has some players, Ricky Yerda. It's like, dude, a foul's a foul. I wasn't seeing it since Melo, and I'm not even a Melo fan of the Knicks when he was on the Knicks like that. So it is what it is. We're not going to get these calls, but that goes to Knicks. We got to be smarter, man. We just got to play smarter. We have to realize that we're playing 5 against 8 out there. 3 refs. How many damn refs out there? I can't remember. I was trying to be slick with it, but we're playing against 3 refs out there, bro. It's just, it is what it is, man. Maybe sometimes we come home, we get a little hometown calls and stuff, but bro, I go back to any game and give you so many foul calls where I'm not talking about pity pat, little things. I like it when they allow guys to play, but I've seen so many pity pat fouls go against the Knicks. We got to be smart, man. That's it.
I feel you. Right. We got to be smart. I mean, in this case, and actually it wasn't, it was Devontae Graham who went into Marcus Morris. And listen, it didn't matter at this point if Marcus Morris, his foot kicked out a little bit, right? It didn't matter. Devontae Graham was running into Marcus Morris. He fell down. The way that he jumped at him, it didn't matter. He was running. He was going to hit Marcus Morris regardless. You know what I'm saying? He was going to hit Marcus Morris regardless. That definitely should have. It should have stuck. Should have stuck. It should have been a 4-point play. But obviously it wasn't. And who knows? Maybe you're right, Guillermo. It could be something like that. I don't know. Maybe you're right.
Hey, I saw Melo get clothesline. I knew something was up. When I saw Melo get clotheslined in Dallas by, I can't remember, it was Vince Carter or Dirk Nowitzki. He got clotheslined. I'm not talking about he got clotheslined and there was no call. And the excuse is that Melo was too. I don't want to hear that crap. That is the most garbage crap, because Shaq used to get calls if that was the case. Shaq used to get calls. And Shaq used to offensive foul people 50% of the time when he was on the Lakers. So I don't want to hear. I watched so many damn Knicks games, man, where it's like the only person who I would say, and at times he does get pity pat calls called on him, but the person that plays as smart defensively is Frank, because he does it so that he plays with his waist, and that's why I emphasize that he plays with his waist, he plays with his hips, he plays with his legs, he shifts his legs, he shifts his feet a lot, and that's the smartest thing you could do, because you basically have to play like it's high school. You can't mug these guys, you can't really touch these guys, because everything that's going to come against the Knicks is going to become pity pat, and then you send these guys to the foul line. Every time a superstar comes and plays the Knicks, it's like, oh yeah, if they have not a great game, get them to the foul line so they get their numbers up and they look good against the Knicks. Because how dare you lose to the Knicks? Like, I'm just over trying to create logic to it. It's because Dolan's here. And then when Adam Silver, I remember he said, "Oh, I'm not here to save the Knicks," blah blah. And it's like the way he answered is like, yeah, he don't really like the Knicks. He probably thinks we're black staying in the league just because we're not doing well as a team in New York, and we don't preach all these woke, agendas and stuff he probably wants to do. So, I mean, it is what it is. And that's why, look, Dolan is not a good owner, but I don't fault him for some of the stuff, because it's just like, you're playing against a full deck, man. Like, bro, whatever, man.
Let me ask you this. RJ Barrett, before the game, according to the Knicks PR, he said, according to the Knicks PR, RJ Barrett told reporters in Charlotte that he would like to retire his Maple Mamba nickname out of respect to Kobe Bryant.
I love that. That's respect, man. That's respect, man. Like, and that's what I want to say. I know I wasn't on, I think the stream you did earlier today, or yes, I can't remember. But, one thing about Kobe, right? People talk about, but I'm talking about his playing days when he's selfish. Kobe was insanely intelligent, right? But, he wanted the period where he wanted to ball to himself, blah, blah, right? I think the thing that made players respect Kobe so damn much, and why it hurts people. Some people just like, not say that it shouldn't affect you, but it's like, were you even close to Kobe? Kobe was literally going around to players and playing some players that we wouldn't even expect, and he was mentoring them, talking to them. Like, he was like, they text him, hey, he's giving them tips and all this other stuff. And, if you heard a Jay Williams story of him when he was working out, and then Kobe saw him working out, he was like, nah, I can't let this guy work. And Jay Williams was still like, yo, what is wrong with this? And he came to find out, I was like, yo, this dude is just that type of dude. And then when he retires, he becomes like, let's be honest, he almost, like, it sounds corny, but he humanizes himself to a bunch of players who he could have sat there and said, oh, you're not as good as me, blah, blah. And a lot of old players, let's be honest, a lot of old players, they don't really ingratiate themselves to the younger players. Some of the younger players don't really leave themselves open. So it goes both ways. When you have a guy who's considered a god, and I know, it is what it is. People consider him a god in terms of basketball, right? But you have that guy, and he humanized himself, and he's critiquing your game. You're like, you watch my game, and I play for Sacramento, I play for Charlotte. Like, what the hell? What is with you? Get a life. Like, are you serious? It's like, damn, like, it hurts so much, especially when you see the guy, he wasn't doing drugs, wasn't drinking, wasn't a degenerate, loved his family, loved his girls, like, loved his wife, like this dude. And it's like, damn, he might be really that dude, man. Like, because a lot of times you don't want to meet your heroes, but it seemed like Kobe, you met him and it was like, damn, like, he's cooler than what I thought. Like, this dude is real. So it's like, for these guys to retire the name and all that stuff, that's just out of respect. There are a lot of other players who have passed, or, unfortunate things have happened, you know what I mean? And you don't see players, kind of galvanize him as much. Maybe guys close to him and whatnot. But it's like, when you hear some of the stories some of these guys say, AD said, when I first got in the league, Kobe was him. I don't remember AD playing with Kobe. You know what I mean? And I think Kobe was still in the league trying to compete against this guy. You know what I mean? You don't even hear that really from Jordan, really, and he might be doing it behind the scenes. We don't know. We don't hear, as so many these young guys is like, when the hell did you talk to Kobe? Like, how did you have this relationship? So it just goes to show you how
Well,
great
you
of
know,
a
the
person Kobe
league.
was on and off the court, man. Like,
Yeah, you know,
just
the
respect
league
that
is
dude.
like you seen the video that I showed last night with Gordon Hayward. You know, he stepped in and he put his foot in the paint just in case Kobe missed that last free throw when he was
Yeah,
trying
but
to
he
go for
said he
60.
came out and said he didn't do that. So I don't
Oh,
know.
okay. I mean, you know,
But that would
maybe
have been cool though if he did
obviously
it. It
he's
would have
gonna
been cool.
say, you know, he's gonna say that.
Right.
I think he
Right.
did. You know, when you look at it, when you look at the video, it looks like he purposely stepped into the paint. I mean, he looked over at the referee and he purposely stepped the foot in the paint. You know what I'm saying?
I won't disagree against you, Sim, but you know how sloppy the NBA is? I almost always see somebody step over the line before it's supposed to. I mean, I know there's sometimes blame where they call
I mean,
that,
if you look at it, it looked like, I mean, he looked at the referee and then did it. But I mean, I just say that to say, you know, it is a big brotherhood, you know, because there's only so many people that's going to play in the NBA. So there's definitely a big brotherhood. And I wouldn't be surprised if they have like a undercover, I don't want to say undercover, but a quiet mentoring type of program where they say, hey, you know, let's hook you up with Kobe, or let's hook you up with this person or that person, you know, so that you can, you can learn from them. RJ Barrett, does he have that Mamba mentality?
Yeah. I think once he gets his shot down packed, I think he does, because one thing about Mamba mentality is self-validation. That's one thing Kobe always played with, is to be self-validating. And I forgot who said it, but they said that one of his, like, he said, like, if you don't believe in yourself, like, you're always gonna you have to put yourself into whatever you're doing and trust in your belief, trust in your abilities. When you saw Kobe, I know people say, oh, Kobe sometimes a chuck, blah, blah, blah. It is what it is, right? But you never felt, when Kobe had to take an important shot, you never felt like he's gonna miss it because he's scared. And when you see, and he's always a guy who always tried to improve. Now, obviously, he watched a ton of MJ film before, he got to the league. So he was kind of prepared in that. Oh, no, not before he got to the league. Sorry. He watched a ton of MJ film when he was with Phil Jackson. I'm pretty sure he probably watched them before, but him and Phil, like, they watched a lot of film together. So this is a guy who was a student of the game. And when you're talking about RJ Barrett, a guy who's going to the gym at, 7 a.m., 6 a.m. in the morning, this guy could be at the meatpacking district, Millie rocking, getting a bunch of chicks and, being good. And he has practice in 2 days. Whatever, I'll chill out. Let me enjoy New York City. This is a guy who's basically become a gym rat. You know what I mean? We complain about his shooting. Before he got hurt, he shot 5 for 7 from 3 in one of those games, right? This is a guy, we talk about his free throw shooting. I don't know what his average was for, like, maybe the last 3 or 4, maybe 3 games before he got hurt. His free throw average went up. You saw the form there. So you're talking about a guy who's taken so many intricacies of his weaknesses and he's working on it. He's evolving. He's like a machine that, like, is just regenerating and fixing all the little flaws about himself. And that's one thing Kobe always did that. He always tried to play at his peak condition. The guy, I mean, look, we don't know where RJ is going to be at with his ankle injury and whatnot. But I mean, for the fact that Kobe, was basically playing, with a bum knee, or the Achilles, whatever. Oh, sorry, it was the Achilles. And he came back. I know he had the thing in Europe, and he came back still trying to play. It's like, yo, bro, this is like, well, Kobe played with like half a torso. Like, dude, this guy, you cannot. He was so self-determined. You couldn't take him off the court until he said so. And that's why I see in RJ, when he misses shots, when it hurts him. He feels it. You know what I mean? And he wants to improve at those things. That free throw shoot, he could have sat back and said, I'm a rookie. I'll get it. I'll work it in the summer. He said, no, why don't I just do that mid-season? And that's why I get on Knox, because it's like that same vigor to evolve mid-season, midweek, to not be content or not be happy and to continue working it.
The reason
you see it in
why
RJ.
I can't get on that because you don't know what they're doing or what they're not doing. So, you know what they're doing on the court. I mean, you know what you're doing on the court. You know what they're doing on the court, but sometimes what you're practicing. How many times have you heard that a player, is staying after practice every day and shooting 100 free throws and they're making 85 of them or whatever it is, and they get in the game and they still don't make them, right? Because somebody can't implement it in the game doesn't always mean that they're not working. You know what I'm saying?
I don't
it doesn't always. I mean, because look, coaching. I have this one girl. She, for whatever reason, when she shoots her jump shot, she has her leg. She pulls her leg forward, right? Just really far. And we don't know why she does it. We sit and we practice all the time. Her keeping her legs right. I toss her the ball. She hops on her feet. Boom. Toss her the ball. She hops on her toes. Boom. And I make her hold the ball in the right position. You know what I'm saying? Jump up, land, and then jump back up again and shoot it. Right? So we can work on our feet. We get in the game. She shoots it the same exact way. We got to continue to do it. Repetition to rep. Just because when you build a habit, it takes a long time to break that habit down and rebuild a new habit in its place. You know what I'm saying? It takes a long time to do that. So we can't say that someone is or isn't doing it, in practice or anything like that, because they just might be. And we're not there to confirm if they are or if they're not.
That's true, Sam. But what was your question? Your question was, do you see the Mamba mentality?
Right. I'm talking about.
Mamba mentality was that it's also the focus, bro. Because
right,
I get what you're saying.
I get that. But you started going into, how, he worked on this or that, and then saying, Kevin Knox not doing that. I'm just saying you can't say Kevin Knox isn't doing that.
People call him the Maple Mamba, right? So people kind of say, not that Maple Mamba's corny. I'm saying that people call him the Maple Mamba. So it's like, oh, all right, it's really cool about Bob. But what I was trying to do was trying to make it relative, like why I wouldn't say Knox per se, right? And I'm not getting on Knox and ishing on him, right? I'm just saying why it looks like he has that mentality relative to the other players that we have. Is that focus? Because a lot of times, you're right. Guys could practice that 85 out of the 85 out of 100. You shoot 1,000 free throws every day after practice, and in a game they can't do it. But a lot of times that comes to, if you could do it in practice, the only thing that's stopping you back is your nerves and the focus.
Your
really
mental.
In the game is that, and it's tough. It's tough to simulate that, and I'm not getting on that. But when you could do that on a higher level, where you could focus in and take out every distraction. You know what I mean? Kobe, Jordan's turnaround jumper. Take out all distractions and hit that at a high clip. You know what I mean? So it's like when you have that ability, or you put it in yourself to focus and concentrate and take out every other thing. And just do it and do it in the game. That's Mamba mentality. That's Jordan. That comes from the greats. And I'm not getting on Knox to say he might not be great or whatever. I'm just saying why I see that more in RJ than in say Knox, and why Knox has that.
Of course. I mean, you can see. I mean, yeah, you definitely can see it more in RJ. Let me give a couple of shout outs here. Give me a call, ladies and gentlemen. 516-405-2246. Right now we are in the dog days of the NBA. So we got like 154 people in here. When the Knicks aren't doing good, you don't get a whole lot of people in the chat. If the Knicks would have won tonight, probably would have had 400, 500, 600 people in the chat. That's the way that it goes. That's cool, though. We're going to rock with who we have here. Let me give a couple of shout-outs, though, as soon as I refresh this so I can see who I'm shouting out, because for whatever reason, YouTube makes it go away so I can't see it. Not smart, YouTube. Ghost Rider, thank you for the super chat, man. You said salute. Salute to you back, my brother. And then the Knicks fix. You said we forget the impact Phil Jackson had on Kobe. That's very true. I'm sure he did have some impact on Kobe in the way that Kobe, Kobe's mentality. Michael Jordan as well. You know what I'm saying? Phil Jackson is the kind of guy that challenges your mental, right? He challenges that. Let me get to a couple of phone calls. Caller, you're on live with Nothing But Knicks, man. What is popping with you?
Yo, what up, Sim? Happy birthday, bro.
Appreciate that, my man. Thank you.
No problem. What are you, 25, man?
25 years old, and I'm getting younger. I'll be 24 next year.
There you go,
now,
man.
I'm 44 years old today, man. 44 years old.
Nice.
Yep.
Let me obviously you saw the game. I just don't understand why. I guess to help his trade value, there's no other reason to play Dennis Smith over Frank. And then the reasoning Mike Miller gave after the game about it's a back-to-back tomorrow, so he wants to get everyone in there, and that DSJ's a better matchup because he's quicker than Frank. So it's a better matchup against their quick guards. I don't understand that. I don't get.
We need it.
So why haven't he done that all year? At least when the games he's been healthy, playing against quick guards. I don't understand that. I mean, I guess you got to give some kind of excuse if you're doing it for trade value or because that's where he's from or whatever the reason is. I mean, that pass he made, I don't know if you saw his one play, he made this pass, and it was like he missed by like 5 feet, and then he got benched. I'm just like, then you bring in Frank with 3 minutes? I mean, it makes no sense. And then right away he hits a three and, creates a backcourt violation. I mean, I'm not saying he's no star, but he impacts the game more than Dennis Smith. I mean, it's just like only the Knicks could be rebuilding while starting, Taj Gibson and Reggie Bullock. And, I just don't understand it, man. Like, where are we going? Like, not even this year. Just like, what are we doing for the future? We're not playing Knox. We're not playing,
well, like I said,
I'm not saying they're playing great. They're not. They don't look good right now. But, like, I'm saying I'd rather lose with them than lose with Reggie Bullock. No offense to him, but...
Okay, I mean,
it's reached the point where I just play the young kids 30.
Okay, so let me
minutes,
ask you this. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
I do agree with you about the young players should be playing. They should be playing, right?
Yeah.
And getting out there on the floor. But also, I understand that if the young play, how do I want to say this?
Yeah.
And I want to make sure I'm putting this the right way. Right.
Yeah.
If we put the young players on the floor to play, and our defense goes back to being putrid, because right now, over the past 6-7 games,
it's been good.
The past few weeks, we've been one of the best defensive teams in the league. Over the last 5 games, we were the 4th best defensive team in the league. We had a top 5 defense. All right, even tonight, we held these guys to 97 points. All right, over the last 5 games, we've been holding teams to 94 points per game over the last 5 games. All right. The one thing that you want to do on a team is somewhere, somehow, somewhere, you have to establish an identity, right? If you go back to the 90s Knicks, and obviously I'm not saying this team is the 90s Knicks, although that was a conversation people had before could we emulate that style? But if you go back to the 90s Knicks, if you put that 90s Knicks in this league today, I can guarantee you they would not be a good team. They may be very good defensively, but that 90s team couldn't score the ball for a damn thing.
Yeah.
It just so happened that all the teams kind of played that way. Right? If you go back and look at those teams, they couldn't score the basketball, but their defense was so tough. They would hold teams down, and everybody kind of played that same, low post, slow down type of basketball game. Of course, the game was slower back then. When you talk about points being scored and stuff like that, it was a lot different. All right, the Knicks, if you took that team and put it in here today, it wouldn't be. They probably wouldn't be good because they probably wouldn't be able to score with teams today. You know what I'm saying? You get it? So, but they had an identity. You knew that they were tough, and they were coming at you tough on the defensive side of the floor. Right? They had that type of identity. You knew who they were. Somewhere, some way, they began that identity.
Yeah.
Right? Because before Patrick Ewing came, they had a bunch of teams that weren't good. Patrick Ewing came in and he gave us that anchor, right? And helped us establish a defensive type of identity.
Yeah, like I think like Morris, you saw the play where Morris threw, I think it was Zeller, he barely threw him down, and they checked to see if it was a flagrant. I think it was Frazier. I think where was it? I forgot. One of them was like, this was back in the day that would barely even be a foul.
Right.
He gave him like a love shove basically to the ground, like that was a joke. They even looked at it, and it was just like back in the day they wouldn't even take a glance at the replay to see if it was a flagrant.
No, I agree with you, right? They wouldn't. But what I'm saying is, are we establishing something with this? With the way that
these players here aren't even going to, what I'm saying? Like these guys aren't probably even going to be here next year, for the most part.
How do you know?
And the Robinsons and
the
Barretts,
we don't. The thing is, we don't know that. We don't know what this regime is going to do. We don't know what's going to happen with this regime. We don't know what this regime is going to do. So we don't know who's going to be here.
I've been thinking about. I mean,
hold on 1 second.
The free agent class next year, right? It's not very good. So you think they're just going to sign a bunch of guys again to 1 year to save all the cap space for the free agent class in 2 years, which we know is a great one?
hold up. Let
Maybe
me
just
finish
bring
this
them-
first.
Yeah,
Let me finish this first, right? So,
yeah. Go ahead.
where do you start to, we all want an identity. Where do we start to develop it?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I understand, and there's a fine line that you got to toe, because I do understand that these kids got to play. They can't learn how to play without playing, right?
Yeah,
they can
I'm not
watch
saying
a
they
little
deserve
bit.
it. The way Knox is, the only reason why we're saying to play him is because he's young, not because the way he looks
I get
when
it.
he's on
I get
the
it.
floor.
I understand that.
But at this point, I want to see him play over Reggie Bullock. No offense to him,
But listen, let me finish.
It's crazy to me,
Let me finish what I'm saying, though. Let me finish what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because the one thing that we never have with the New York Knicks is consistency or stability, right? So we talk about trying to develop an identity, and we want our players to come into some kind of an identity, right? What if we're terrible offensively? I get it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're terrible offensively, but defensively we're starting to play. Right?
Yeah.
And we're playing.
Is good. I think defense falls when you bring in, the Knox. No offense to,
We're playing well defensively. Right? And
do you hear me?
If this continues, is that something that you want your young players to start developing into? Right? Do you want them to start growing up with this defensive mentality? If you're starting to establish that kind of game, you know what I mean? So it's a hard line to toe.
Knox and Dennis Smith, just by watching, say, Frank and and a Morris, two solid defensive players.
Say that again.
Like a Knox, we know he's very poor defensively at this stage of his career. Can you learn that? Just do you need to have that, or can you learn it? By watching a Morris or Frank, the way they defend.
Well,
do you think this a poor defender is just usually going to just be a poor defender?
Well, I'm not necessarily. I don't necessarily think a poor defender is always going to be a poor defender. I think you've seen players throughout the years.
Because I just see Knox, he's just very slow out there. His footwork is just slow, and I just want it to be good, really bad, man. I just want the young kids to just keep improving, and to this because maybe lack of minutes or lack of production, it's not happening, man.
Yeah, I think a player can, and thank you for the call, my man. Players can turn themselves into good defensive players. It takes work because, everybody thinks that defense is simply and just is just effort. It's not. Defense takes a lot of thought as well. You know what I'm saying? It takes a lot of thought. You got to find ways to you got to understand your rotations. You got to look at the offensive player and understand, try to figure out what their weaknesses are, try to figure out, what their strengths are and those type of things. So, you've got to, you got to think a lot on the defensive end. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just the physical stuff. You got to think about it. You got to have a good basketball IQ, a defensive basketball IQ. You know what I mean? So, it's a player can turn themselves into a good defender. They got to do a lot of studying. Of course, the physical things, you got to learn and understand the physical things as well, and be able to implement those things on the floor. But it's not always easy, especially if you just weren't born with those, with that type of mentality, because it takes a mentality to be a good defensive player. You know what I mean? But if we're playing this kind of defense, we all, we continue to ask and cry for a team that is defensive oriented, is defensive minded, and we're playing that kind of defense now. Right? We're playing that kind of defense now. How long will it last? I don't know. Right? Offensively, we can't. We can't do anything offensively. But is it something that you can start to hang your hat on and say, this is what these guys are about? Maybe they can't score the ball, but we know they're going to come and it's going to be a tough game. They're going to challenge us defensively. Is that something that is beginning to build? That's what I want to ask you guys. When you call in, I want you to answer that question. Is that something that we're beginning to build? Right? Are we beginning to build a defensive identity and a defensive mentality with this team? Nate, I'm going to come to you if Nate's still here. And I want to find out what you think. And I guess I'll come to Guillermo until Nate gets back. Oh, here's Nate. Here we go. Nate,
what's up?
Tell me.
Yeah.
Do you think, and I had to, my man, the guy that just called, man, sometimes me and him, I'm trying to, have a conversation with him, but he'll cut me off right midstream. Bang. I say, and he's like, oh, and I'm like, so I had to put him on hold.
Fame, man.
I'm sorry, my man. I'm not even sure your name, but I'm sorry, bro. I had to put you on hold. Then I just had to go on to the next person because you got to, a conversation is a conversation. It's a give and take. It's a talk back and forth. Not one person cutting the other person off on every turn. You know what I mean? It's going back and forth, having a good conversation with each other. But anyway, Nate, are we beginning to establish something that we can look at and say maybe this is an identity?
Oh. I'm still lost about this team. I mean, we say we're good. We say we're playing good defense, and then we lose to the Hornets. So
yeah, I mean, but sometimes it's not always the defense's fault. The Hornets scored 97 points.
Yeah, I mean that's true, but I don't know. There was a lot of lapses in the defense too, and the rebounding that was a big key.
Okay, I mean, This is the one thing I'm gonna say. Every single game that you watch, the best defensive team in the world is going to have lapses in defense. There's going to be certain things that happen. I can guarantee you that the biggest lapse that we have is 3-point shooting. Right? The Hornets shot 25%.
That's a big part with today's NBA. You got to be able to defend
that. I know. I understand that. But despite that, even over this 5-game stretch, where our defense is rated 4th in the league over this 5-game stretch, right? Despite the 3-point shooting, we're still over this 5-game stretch, and even longer than this 5-game stretch, held teams to 94 points. Obviously, your better teams, the Lakers, they scored 100 and whatever. The Raptors still scored 118 points. Other teams were held, to 86 or something like that. The average is out to 94 points, right? You can even take, and you can go farther back than that, and the defense is still, good. We had that West Coast swing where the defense was not good, right? Obviously, there were guys in and out of the lineup at the time. Before the West Coast swing, the defense was pretty good, right? So you're not going to find a perfect defense anywhere in the league. I can guarantee you every single defense has something somewhere that you can exploit if you're a good coach and you're able to exploit it. Now being able to exploit it is something different than understanding that the weakness is there. So if a team might have a weakness, but you got to be able to exploit it. We've been playing very well defensively, despite the fact that teams are still shooting well from the 3-point line. Still playing very well defensively. You don't think that's the beginning of an identity?
I mean, I think that there's the potential for it. I mean, we're a lot better defensive team than we were with Fizdale, that's for sure. There's definitely more effort and more emphasis on defense. I mean, honestly, I guess so, because outside of the offense, or not even, offense, we have no identity. We still don't even know what we are. I guess, yeah. I guess you could say that. I guess our calling card could be the defense right now, because, we don't shoot the ball at a high clip, and, if we're going to be able to, that's the only way we're going to be able to win is if we stop the opponent from scoring a lot of points, because we don't score a lot of points. It's kind of like the Bulls back in the day, under Top Thibodeau, where they didn't score a lot of points, but they sure as heck defended you, so they were always in games. So, yeah, I guess you could say that. The Knicks are trending in the right direction defensively, where we're competitive in almost all the games now, which is good. We just need to get that timely scoring at the end to get over the hump. So,
timely scoring, I would say we need to get timely scoring throughout the game. good scoring throughout the
Right,
game,
but
not even
especially in
just
the
at the
fourth
end.
quarter, if the game's close, we gotta get that closer. We gotta not make so many boneheaded mistakes in the fourth quarter, because honestly, if you look at a lot of these Knicks games, we lose it in the fourth quarter. I mean, if it's close, we make a boneheaded mistake where we step out of bounds, or we miss a defensive assignment, or we take stupid shots, or playing hero ball. I mean, we're right there. I mean, in some of these games, I mean, so the defense is definitely the catalyst right now. I'd like to see where we are at the end of the season defensively. To say that, yeah, our identity is defense. I'll say this: if we finish in the top 10 in defense, then there's no doubt that if we keep Mike Miller, that our identity will be defense first and foremost.
I can't see us finishing in the top 10 in defense because, earlier in the season we were so putrid on defense. I mean, we were like 30th
right now,
in the league.
Well, at least the last 5 games we were like what, 4th, right? But overall, we're still 20th.
Overall, what? Overall,
right
we're
now,
20 something. The last 5 games, we were 4th in the league in defense over the last 5 games.
But you said overall we're still like what, 25th or something like that?
Yeah, so over the last 7 games, we are 4th in the league. This is the last 7 game, 4th in the league with a 105.8 rating. If I go back to 8 games, the last 8 games, we are 5th in the league with a 107.3 rating. The last 9 games.
Well, then why don't we say this? Not counting the games that Fizdale coached, from when Mike Miller took over, from that time to the end of the season, let's see if we can be a top 10 defense.
Yeah.
Or a top 15 defense. If we finish in the top 15 in that category, I'm not talking the games we play at Fizdale, because, we got blown out, and that number is really going to screw it up. But from now, when Mike Miller took over to the end of the season, if we finish in the top 10 or 15 in defense, then yes, I think we can say our identity is the defense.
The hard thing about that is the hard thing about that is this. It's going to depend on what, if let's say that they get into, after the trade deadline, and now you're playing a whole different lineup, then you're not going to know. Because it's too small of a sample size. Too small of a sample size.
True, but I think if Mike Miller really is preaching defense, I mean, the philosophy, regardless of who the player is, should still be defensive first.
The philosophy might be, but the players got to be able to play defense. I'm gonna come to Guillermo with this question. Let me get to a phone call. I'm gonna come to Guillermo. Caller, you on live with Nothing But Knicks. What's popping?
What's going on, Sim?
I'm good, brother. How you feeling?
I'm all right. How you feeling?
I'm good. So you tell me, man.
I've been meaning to call for a minute, so I finally decided to give a call. And Sean from Brooklyn.
All right. I'm glad you called, man. Glad you called up. So you tell me, are the Knicks beginning to develop an identity?
Yeah, honestly, I feel like as for the defense, I feel like we are starting to show something on the defensive end. I mean, I feel like the guys in the chat kind of be tough on the Knicks at times, but like you said, as far as defense, I feel like we're starting to set something.
Yeah. So let me ask you. I mean, because if you're gonna develop an identity, somewhere along the line, it has to start. It has to begin, right?
Yeah.
If the team, because something always has to begin somewhere. If the team is really and truly developing a defensive identity, and the sample size is small, we went back about 8 games where they're ranked the top 10 in the league. All right, the last 8 games or so, ranked top 10 in the league. Sample size is very small. They've got to continue to do it night in and night out. And if you're losing games, it can be hard to keep up that defensive intensity if you're losing games, right? But if you are beginning to develop some kind of an identity, and then right as it's developing, you start to, we're just going to strip this down and
things up,
here we go. We're going to do this. what do you do? And then you bring in a group of guys that don't have an identity at all. I mean, the point is, as a good GM, you gotta. That's something that you gotta look at and say, is this real? Where we're developing this type of defensive identity. Now we need some guys who can, play some defense, but also come in and score the basketball, spread the floor, and do some things like that. That's always going to be the challenge. I don't know if Steve Mills and Scott Perry are going to be the guys that's up for that challenge. But
honestly, I feel like the best thing to do right now, since like we are showing some kind of improvement on the defensive end, is not to panic and kind of keep it as it is and try and bring some of the guys next year and then tweak it like that. Like go out looking for a defensive wing and go out looking for a guard who can score from the perimeter and things like that, instead of trying to blow it up and do it again next year. I feel like just keep it as it is, bring in a few more guys, that could do things that we're missing. Because if you look at how the defensive has been since Mike Miller took over, I think we're probably in the top 15, if not close to that, So I think we should be looking at it from that, and not from when Fizdale took over. And if we're looking at that point, then we're bad. But when we're looking at it from when Mike Miller took over, it's a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a lot better, especially recently. So, it's a good question, and it's tough to, say. White Falcon 44 says Frank and Mitch are the identity. Defensively, they could definitely be the identity. Mitch still has some things to learn on the defensive end. Here's the thing, and this is the exact thing we're talking about. Frank, Mitch, yeah, they can definitely be the identity, but neither one of those guys can really get a bucket on their own, right? Mitch definitely is not getting a bucket on his own. And Frank, I mean, he gets wide open shots and can't knock them down. You know what I'm saying? But both guys can play some defense. Obviously, Frank can play great on-ball defense. Mitch can, erase mistakes from guards. You know what I'm saying?
My only thing with Frank is his shooting formula is perfect, man, but it just never falls. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a confidence thing or he just got to keep shooting it up, keep shooting it in practice,
he's
or whatever the case may be. But
I think he's got to keep shooting, and he's got to. I think it's the level of focus, like Guillermo was saying earlier. A lot of times it's the level of focus. My daughter does the same thing right now. She goes to the basket, and she goes to the basket hard, but she can't slow down that split second before you lay the ball in to really focus in. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying, that's but exactly what Frank is doing, but it's something similar to that, where he just has to, focus in and see that ball go through the hoop, watch it through the hoop, watch it go through the hoop and focus in at that last split second before he shoots the ball. I don't know, man, but hey, I appreciate the call. Oh, go ahead. You got another question?
Man. I'm gonna definitely keep calling and keep doing your thing, right?
Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah.
All right, peace. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's a good question to be had, right? Yeah, obviously, it's a short sample size, and we don't know how long this is going to last. It could be very short. We could go allow a team to drop 140 on us tomorrow night. We talk about tomorrow night. We got a guard to deal with, man, and Ja Morant. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Guillermo, I'm coming to you. I don't know if Guillermo's sleeping or not. You know what I'm saying?
I'm on my phone.
All right. So, Guillermo, do you think, are we starting to build any kind of an identity, or is it just, too short of a sample size to even know?
Yeah, too short of a sample size. I would like to know the teams that we've so-called had a top whatever defense on, how they're trending, what's the three-point percentages during that time. So, because when that happens, right, it's like you have, like, this, if you're talking about a change in identity, right, is our perimeter defense getting better? Now, I will say, over the past few games, I've seen certain players, right, and this is where the whole subbing thing comes into play. I've seen, when we play with certain players, when we play with guys like Dotson, Frank, Bullock, at times Taj, when he's not too tired. Can't really say Mitch
when he's not too tired.
No offense to Taj. I just wish Taj was like 6 years younger, man. He would be excellent for this.
I know that. I know.
With those guys, you see them when guys dribble penetrate into our zone, and one guy kind of stupidly commits, and they try to pass the ball out around to the rest of the guys on the perimeter. I've seen some of our guys reset better, and I've said this in other games. But then in those same games when we put guys like Randall, Portis, we put in some of these guys, they don't reset well. So, is it that we're seeing trends with certain players, and those are players maybe carrying to next year? And some of these guys like the Portises and whatnot are not going to be here next year, not going to be a focal point of our team next year. Then you can say, all right, maybe there's a trend, but maybe they always had it. They just needed playing time. So I don't know. You say that there's a change and a shift if the whole team is doing it. If the whole team is selling out on defense, right? The whole team selling out on perimeter defense. If Mitch stops jumping for balls, if Randall actually comes out and plays his man the right way, don't allow guys to on the baseline. If you see certain things like that by everybody, at the very least, even if we're losing, it's all right. Then you see change. But right now,
I mean, so what do you attest? So then, what do you attest to over the last 8 games having a top 10 defense over the last 8 games, over the last 5 games, and over the last 5 games?
I just said that we don't know. I don't know the side. I'm not saying I know, but that's why I asked you. What were those guys, our opponents? What are those guys' offensive numbers? What are their for the past few games? Not just for the season, but the past few games. What's their 3-point shooting percentages? For the whatever games, you said 8 or 10 games or 10 games, what were their percentages, right? Because if you're playing, you can run through a cadre of teams just like, all right, they're not really playing well right now. And obviously it's hard to run through 10, 15 teams that are all not playing well, but it could be mixed, right? So it could be mixed where the Knicks are playing good one night, or the other night, one team just shot really poorly. They just had a really bad game. So I'm not even trying to take that away from the Knicks. Is that what I'm trying to say is that maybe those trends, maybe that speaks to some. But what I'm trying to see is that the whole team, so our starting 5 and our replacement guys. And I think you see better defense for some of your replacement guys. I know Bullock, he's been going between starting and bench, so I kind of use him. But, Bullock, Dotson, you see certain plays, they always play like that. So it's not, I don't know if it's a trend or if it's just we just don't play those guys enough to say, all right, this is our whole team is doing better. So I'm not trying to take it. If the Knicks are doing that, I just don't see it because it's simple. We, as a team overall, outside of some players, we don't reset on defense well, and we still give up the 3 big time. Guys just kind of and we lose a lot of miscommunication. The game before the Nets game, what was that? The game before the Nets game, I can't remember. My head is drawing a blank. But the game before the Nets game where on 2 possessions, you saw Dotson come out and peek, and he ran back to the other guy, and it's like, no, dude, switch. Just stay there because it's crunch time. You're deep in the shot clock. There's no – so the communication is still poor in defense, right? So it's like
I mean, the thing is this, though. I don't want to just – for me, if a team is holding – has been holding teams in the last 5 games to 94 points, right? The last 5 games was Cleveland, LA, Toronto, Brooklyn, Charlotte. Obviously, there are a couple, 3 of those teams are below 500, which doesn't always mean anything, right? Because sometimes you can have a team that's below 500 that can score the basketball, right? Sometimes you have a team that's below 5. Sometimes you have right, but my thing is, that's 5 games, and then tonight, we held a team to 97 points, a team that can't shoot clearly, right? They can't shoot either. And every game that you play, I don't care who it is, I don't care what defense it is. Some of the lapses, some of the communication breakdowns, it's going to be in every team in every single game. You know what I'm saying? Now, we can look, if this Knicks, let's just say, for example, we had the same exact defensive rating, but we won games. For whatever reason, our offense was better, but our defensive rating right now is the exact same that it was over the last 5 games. I can guarantee you we'd say we got a good defensive team. I can almost guarantee it. It's the fact that we haven't won the games that people are going to look and scrutinize every little thing, bro. I believe it because
what we do on defense is glaring, right? It's one thing if you have an average defense.
The 3-point line is glaring. The 3-point line is glaring.
Right. So
The
when you look
three-point
at
line is glaring.
if you can look at a team like, say, give me a good offensive team this year and be like, well, they're good offensively. Defensively, they're not that good. I don't think Knicks fans would be like dazed or confused, because obviously you look at things, right? Compared to last year, I don't think Mitch is on the same rate, the same pace as blocks he had last year, right? You see Randall still plays fairly bad defense. Same thing with Portis. Some of these main guys on our team are still really bad defense. But if we were winning, if we were above 500, you'd be like, I think Knicks fans would be, no, I say all. I would say I think enough Knicks fans would be like, nah, our offense is killer. Marcus Morris shooting.
But what I'm saying though is, I'm looking at the last 5 games. Like I said, if the last 5 games, the Knicks were holding people to 94 points a game, right? But we had a winning record. We were above 500. Our defense was this and that, going. I guarantee people will say, our defense is looking good. Now, right now, because we're not above 500, right? And, it's been both the offense and the defense. People are afraid to say if they think we're starting to form any kind of an identity. Obviously, it's a small sample size, and you got to see them continue to do this, right? And then as soon as the Knicks give up a big game, people are going to say, see, but, that happens to the best of teams. I can guarantee it, especially in today's NBA.
I don't disagree with you. Right. Yes, the sample size is too small, right? But even I think is that with the Knicks, again, if it was a case where the Knicks were not giving up the 3 so poorly, right? If it was just, all right, we're losing these games, our defense, I think that, yes, our offense is pretty, we can't hit the 3 now. I think where we rank, I think one of the worst. Whatever, we're not good at the 3.
Well, we rank what? As far as 3-point shot.
Yeah, where do we rank? Are you looking at this?
Let me check it. I'm gonna check it out. Go ahead and keep talking. I'll let you know when I get it.
Yeah, it's just it's not that I don't want to give them credit, but it's like you still see the same glaring mistakes, and it's like, look, they are holding these teams.
It has to be much less of those glaring mistakes. Those mistakes, it has to be. No, it has to be much less.
See, but Sim, you're not listening to me. I said that there's certain players. And they're getting more minutes.
Right, but where does development start? It's not going to be one day you don't have it, and then the next day it's perfect. It's got to be in a process of development.
I said that if those guys are the building blocks for next year, and you get rid of some of the guys that you start or give heavy minutes to or playing poor defensively, then I said, yes, you can say you're building for the future.
Okay, but I'm just saying. Like you're very
the rest of those guys back. If Dotson and Bullock become bigger building blocks next year, for instance, right? And they play the same pace in terms of defense, right? And although the guys I mentioned that play fairly good defense in terms of resetting, playing the perimeter fairly good, the Paynes, the Franks, all those guys. If they are the building blocks for next year and they're getting more minutes, then yes, I said. Those guys, yes, you can say that there's a trend. There's
something I think that we are beginning to build one. You know what I'm saying? Just from
do you see it from your starting 5 though, Sim? Do you see it from most of your starting 5 or
I see plays. Listen, obviously I see lapses, but those lapses are going to be part of your developmental process. You know what I'm saying? I've seen Julius Randle make some boneheaded defensive plays. I seen him the other night hustle down the court and try to get a block. Right?
You said you saw Randle do that.
Yes, I seen Randle hustle down the court and try to get a block. And I was talking with somebody. I don't remember who it was. I think I was maybe talking with Nate.
Which game is this, Sim?
I'll get the clip and send it to you. Very clear. The dude was on a fast break. He hustled down the court to try to get a block. People see this is what I don't like about Knicks fans, right? We only want to look at the people that we want to condemn. And then we want to look at all the bad or the people we want to celebrate, and we want to look at all the good. No, hold up. No. Don't try to talk over me. And then we want to look at all the good. You got to look at both sides, right? And there's levels to development. It's not all going to happen one day you're garbage and the next day you're good. It's not going to happen that way. So players that have bad habits, that have developed bad habits, it's not going to fix in one season. It's not going to fix in 40 whatever games. It's just not. So when you say, I still see this. I still see that. So there's no way we can be good. There's no way we can be a good defense. There's no way. You can't say that because they're developing, right? I think it was Nate that I was talking about, when we talked about, maybe it was earlier today or earlier yesterday. We were talking about Julius Randle, and we were saying when your entire team is playing defense and playing aggressive, it forces other people to have to play that way. And so you see people make those kind of hustle plays. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can choose to give the guy credit or not. That's up to you. You know what I'm saying? But I see both sides. I see him make mistakes, and I see him try to make some hustle plays. I seen a lot of players on the team try to do those things. Now, is it perfect? Of course not. But where does development start? Development starts from an imperfect place, and it never becomes perfect, ever. Ever. That's why you're constantly developing. Even when you're good, you're still developing and getting better. You know what I mean? But, I mean, where does it start? It has to start at something. And maybe, just maybe, this is a place. I mean, we're playing over the last few games. We're really playing some of the best defense that we've played in a while. Tell me, I mean, since 2012, 2013, I don't know if we've played defense this well that we played, that we're seeing right now. I really don't. We're playing some pretty good defense. Are there holes? Of course there's holes, right? There's holes in the defense. Right now, over the past 5 games, as far as three-point percentage, the Knicks are giving up 34.9% from the three-point line over the past 5 games. That's 12th in the league. That's over the past 5 games, right? Now, there's teams that are still shooting the ball very well. If you go to 6 games, they're 10th in the league, 34.3. You go to 7 games, over the past 7 games, the Knicks are still 10th in the league, giving up 35.1. You go to the last 8 games, they dropped to 13th in the league, giving up 36%. I mean, I don't know. You know what I mean? At some point, we got to say, hope that development is beginning. You know what I'm saying? And you have a springboarding point. You know what I mean? Nate, dude, you got to unmute yourself, Nate. Oh, let me see. Maybe I got you muted. Do you remember the conversation that I'm talking about, Nate?
Yeah. You were saying that if you're going to build like the team defense that, even players that don't play defense, if you have the right philosophy or the right or coach the right mindset, that you can get the players to buy into as far as, the team defense concept. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. And I was the first one to say, man, that I think Julius Randle has gotten better as a defender from when he started the season. I mean, he competes now. I mean, I'm not saying he's an all-world defender or anything.
He's not.
He competes. He doesn't let people body him up in the post. He keeps his hands. He moves his feet on the defensive side. Yeah, he sometimes misses rotations or stuff like that. But I mean, he's competing on the defensive end as best as he can. That's progress. I mean,
yeah. I want to answer something that's in the chat right now. Someone asks, do you sorry, I just caught someone. Heartbreak Nova says Simmons muting everyone right now. You get a mute, you get a mute, you get a mute. I'm not. I mean, I'm not. I try not. Anyway.
It's his birthday. He can do what he wants to.
Yeah, it's my birthday. So it's my birthday for 15 more minutes, so I can mute anybody. Anyway, someone asks, don't you have to win to develop an identity or to develop a culture? No, you don't have to win to develop an identity. I mean, your hope is that your identity results in wins. You know what I'm saying? So you don't win and then you develop an identity. You develop an identity first and then the winning comes. You develop a culture first and then the winning comes. You know what I'm saying? That's when you win, after you've developed those things. You know what I mean? You don't If you want to be a champion, you don't wait until you're the champion to practice hard. You don't wait until you're the champion to work on fundamentals or to build your skill. You build your skill and then you become a champion. You know what I mean? So no, you don't need an identity. I mean, you don't need to be a champion or to be a winner in order to have an identity. You develop that identity first and then you become a winner. That's basically the way that it works. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's going to be, we'll see. Devontae Wilson, you said, man. Sim, where is the development? I'm just talking about on the defensive side. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, offensively, we got a lot of work to go because we're one of the worst teams in the league offensively. You know what I'm saying? One of the worst teams in the league offensively. But, I mean, you can look at the numbers defensively over the past few games. We've held teams down. But you want to know what? Also, over the last 5 games, we've averaged like 100 points per game. So even though you're holding teams down, you're not necessarily going to always win, especially when you have a night like tonight where we scored what we scored. What was the score? 97 to what? 92? Scored 92 points. Not in today's NBA, you're not going to win.
It's an old school NBA game.
You know, back in the day, maybe you would win, but not in today's NBA. So, I mean, development has to start somewhere, and that's what I don't think people understand. Every time we turn around, we change up everything. Everything. Just imagine if your school that you went to every single year changed your curriculum. You had a brand new curriculum. Kids wouldn't learn anything because it'd be all this broken knowledge all over the place. You know what I'm saying? At some point, we got to start with something and really try to say, okay, we have some sort of an identity. I guess we'd have to figure out at the end of the season, if, we're able to stay consistent with, the way that we're playing defensively right now. If we're not able to stay consistent, then you can say, you know what, it was just a flash in the pan. But if we're able to stay consistent throughout the season, then, maybe you started to build something. The problem is by the time we get to the end of the season, we'll probably be playing some guys that can't play defense, and it's going to be like, you don't really know. So I don't know, man. Let's talk about this game tomorrow night. The Knicks take on the Memphis Grizzlies at home. All right, and we're gonna get a chance. Now you got another really good guard out there, really, really good, and Ja Morant. That's gonna be a task. You know what I'm saying? And guarding Ja Morant, that's gonna be a difficult task for us to jump into. That's gonna be rough. And as a matter of fact, just to let you know, tomorrow on Sportscaster now, I'm going to be I'm going to call the game tomorrow on Sportscaster. So you can join me on Sportscaster tomorrow. I'm going to start at 7, and we'll start talking about the game at 7 o'clock. And then I will, just call the game and watch the game and call the game and sit and talk together. So if you want to join me, feel free to join me at 7 p.m. I'll be on Sportscaster. All right. I don't know what Nate, what are you watching? A comedy or something up there? What's going on? Somebody tickling your feet or something? Man. What's up? Your dog licking your toes or something?
I'm watching The Longest Yard, man.
Oh.
When they hit them in the nets with the ball. That's my favorite part.
Oh, okay. All right. But, yes, tomorrow I will be on Sportscaster, ladies and gentlemen, calling the game on Sportscaster. So make sure you join me on Sportscaster. And then after the game, I will do the post game on YouTube. All right. So make sure that you join me on Sportscaster tomorrow. And we should have a good time with it. All right. What I am going to do, this is what I'm going to do, is before I go on Sportscaster, I will send something out, a video out to just say, hey, join me on Sportscaster as we're following the game. And then you can come on over to Sportscaster and I'll put the link in there and all that good stuff. All right. All right. So, Nate, talk to me, or Gamble, whoever, you're both live. Talk to me about tomorrow night's game with the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah, man. Ja Morant.
That's the main attraction right now.
I think Jackson Jr.
Let's
is
look
back
at some
too.
team stats so Nate can chime in. But Ja Morant's killing it, man. This is a guy that won it. I still like RJ Barrett, don't get me wrong, but damn, Ja Morant, that guy, he's a baller, man. And he's even playing a lot more aggressive than what I envisioned him playing, like at Murray State. So yeah, man, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a challenge for our point guards. Love to see what Frank and Peyton, Frank, Peyton, even Bullock and Dotson, because they're probably going to spend some time on him as well. I'll be really interested to see what they do. So, yeah. I have our hands full. And they also got the other kid I like from last year. I don't know his name, the center power forward dude.
Jackson Jr.
Jaren Jackson. Jaren Jackson.
Oh, thank you, Jaren Jackson.
Yeah, he just came back to the G League.
I think he had a really good season last year because every time I checked him, he always had like a double-double. Jaren Jackson right now, he's averaging 18 points on 48.4% field goal shooting, 41.1% from three. Sheesh. Oof. Oh, yeah, we got our hands full tomorrow, man.
And Sim, he just came back from the G League, too.
People are like, oh, Jaren Jackson. Say, hey, that's another one I called, man. So I want to get my propers for calling both him and Ja Morant. Well, y'all killed me last year for saying I'd take him over Zion. I know Zion's, he came back. He's trying to get healthy, but, Ja Morant, man, that's the future right there.
The Memphis Grizzlies are 23-24 right now.
In the West.
They're in the 8th spot in the West.
So, yeah, they got Jaren Jackson, Ja Morant, Dylan Brooks. I've never heard of him. He's averaging, 15.9%. 15.9 points this season. Oh, yeah, they got Jonas Valanciunas, Jay Crowder, Brandon Clark. Do they have – no, I'm thinking of the Pelicans. I'm thinking of that kid, Jackson, light-skinned dude. Big, tall dude. So Dylan Brooks, he's averaging 15.9 points this year on 40.2%. 3-point shooting, 42% field goal shooting. So we're gonna have our hands tied tomorrow in terms of the perimeter. We talking about all the Knicks. Let me see what Ja Morant's shooting. Ja Morant's shooting 17.6%. 39.1% from three. 48.7% from two. From field goal. Excuse me. So for all the people. Well, actually, it's just Yusuf. Hey, if you want to see if we're truly making some strides, we gotta hold this team, under 100. They go hold them under 100, and they shoot like 34, 33, 35% from three or something like that. Then, maybe, but. They got gunners on this team, man. And I guess this is how you properly build, man, because I've never heard of some of these guys like Dylan Brooks. And no offense, I just don't know. So,
Dylan Brooks came from Oregon.
It seems like they've had this guy, Dylan Brooks, been in the league for 3 years. Drafted second round. He's actually drafted from Houston, but I guess they traded him because he never played a game for them. So, hey. They got the guys they want. They're building with them. So, and I just don't watch enough of the Grizzlies to know about them like that. But They got gunners on this team, man. So
we'll see. They average 113.3 points per game. Their opponents average 115.4 points per game.
They're not that good defensively, man.
Defensively. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no! I'm agreeing with you. So I kind of like said what you're probably gonna say. I said they're probably not good defensively. Giving up those amount of points, but I mean, they probably
hold up, Gamble. Hold up, Gamble. Nate, go ahead, Nate.
We're talking about defense, so I'm kind of curious as a coach. Are you more concerned about the points you give up or the field goal percentage?
I mean, it's very hard to say. I don't know if either one of them always dictates whether or not you're playing good defense. You know what I'm saying? Because you could be playing great defense and the team just has a hot night.
Right.
And it doesn't always mean that you're not playing good defense. All your rotations could be good and everything, and teams just hitting shots.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't always mean that. It really takes a totality, to see, how good you are defensively. You know what I mean? I think overall, you probably want to look at that field goal percentage, though, because that's a good indication that you're contesting shots. that you're doing those type of
Exactly,
things.
or how many shots it took to get those points.
Yeah, the Memphis Grizzlies on the season, their defensive rating is 111.2. That's like 20th in the league. That doesn't always mean anything playing the Knicks, though, because we play some teams that are terrible defensively. We still don't score. So,
Or like tonight, man, we were playing a horrible offense, and we still gave 100 points.
If you look at the last 5 games for the Memphis Grizzlies, defensively over the last 5 games, I mean, they're probably playing well. They're 9th in the league over the last 5 games. They're 3-2 in the last 5 games. Their defensive rating is 108.7. Their offensive rating is 107.4. So, as a team, shooting, their 3-point shooting as a team for the
36%. It's the 12th in the league, and then field goal percentage is 5th in the league at 47.4. Points, they are 9th in the league. So
this would be a good test. This would be a good test.
Oh, but you know what? And it's at the Garden. So look, the Knicks, we're a weird team, man, because I'll say this crap, just like I said with the Sixers game. Oh no, the Heat game. And then they'll come and beat the Heat at the Garden. So, let me just go some stats. So, passing wise, they're like top 3 in the league in terms of passes made and received. Assists, they're number 1. Oof, Lord Jesus. Secondary assists, they're number 3. Potential assists, they're number 5. Assist points created, they're number 2. So, dude. And their assist to pass percentage is 9th. It's 3rd at 9 per game. So yeah, this team, they move the ball around. This is one of those games where it's like, like you said, it's going to be a testament to see if our defense is truly, especially our perimeter defense, right? They got a little inside-outside game. I don't know how they utilize Valanciunas. I'm pretty sure they probably utilize him slightly different than they utilize him with the Raptors, but they probably use him as like the ball goes to him to the post, maybe he passes around. I don't know. I might be wrong, chat, so please don't kill me. But if they're passing that much, that means that ball is moving to the open man, and they got speed, man. Like they got speed with Ja Morant. So this could be, if we don't focus, if we don't know where our man is, we're gonna get carved up. And
we'll see, man. Hey, Ja Morant might be looking to come and have a field day at the Garden. You know what I'm saying?
As everybody has come to,
he might want to come in and have his Garden moment early.
His 82 points.
Dennis Smith Jr.'s guarding him. He probably will.
Hey, Dennis Smith looked healthy tonight, so I'm just joking.
He looked like he had some energy. I mean, he looked like he had some energy.
He looked healthy. And I'll say this, that back injury. We'll talk about this. Ismail was talking about, would you rather have LJ in the Knicks versus Rand? I'm like, bro, y'all don't say them back injuries. LJ was a beast at UNLV and with Charlotte. Before that, I think it was a dislocated disc or something like that. His lower back screwed him up, and he became, don't get me wrong, he still became LJ, but he was not the same. So when we talk about stuff with DSJ, and even with RJ, like if RJ's gonna come back in the next 2 weeks, whatever, let's not kill him for it. Like these injuries, we do this a lot of times and I think sometimes they feel pressure to come back and prove themselves. Let's be smart about this. This guy is relatively young. I'm talking about RJ and even DSJ. There's no need to get so hard on him about certain injuries if we know that the injury is holding back and stuff like that. Because, dude, it's not easy to heal from some of these things, man. So
that's definitely true. Let me give a couple of super shout outs to some super chats. The Knicks Fix said when teams play the Knicks, they're playing 5-on-4. I mean, when you talk about Elfrid Payton, a lot of nights they are, right? That could be true. Because Elfrid Payton, can't score. And Heartbreak Nova the third said, "Happy Born Day, Sim. Truly appreciate the time you take to keep the chat creative and professional. Even though I know we drive you crazy. Great dad, great man. Keep it up. Go Knicks. The losing can't be forever." Thank you, Heartbreak. I really appreciate all that. Thank you. I appreciate it. And the loser can't be forever. We hope. We hope.
Oh,
You
man. Don't jinx it, man. Like, look, yeah. Don't
We
say
hope
things
it
like
can't,
that, man, because the basketball guys will be like, oh, it can be forever. And we'll still be here on Nothing But Knicks 50 years later, old as hell, talking about we haven't seen a playoff win or whatever. Like, don't say things like that. Please don't put that in the air. Let's just analyze game by game. I don't want to hear about.
All right.
Stop. Don't do that. Please. Please.
Yeah, nah, I feel you, man. I know. I don't want to put nothing like that in the air. Well, yo, I'm
No.
going to get out of here. Guillermo, if you have a minute, though, afterwards, I just want to talk to you about that Albany Patroons thing.
All right, cool.
All right. But I'm getting out of here, guys. All right. And again, tomorrow, I'm going to be on Sportscaster, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be not forecasting, but, commentating the game on Sportscaster. So make sure you follow me on Sportscaster right now. All right, go follow me on Sportscaster. I'm putting the information in the YouTube chat. Because tomorrow I'll be broadcasting live on Sportscaster during the game. And I want you to be there and hang with us. All right. I'll be on at 7 o'clock. And I'll go until the game is finished. And then after the game, I'll be back on over here so we can do the post-game show. All right. So make sure you join me on Sportscaster tomorrow. I just put the link in the YouTube chat, but you will get a notification. I'll send out a notification tomorrow so that you can jump on that, ladies and gentlemen. All right. One more time, sportscaster.com/nothingbutKnicks. All right. And, there's not an E at the end of that Sportscaster, so it's not ER. It's just TR. Which makes it a little bit weird, but you get it. All right, so I'm putting it in there one more time. Go ahead over there and follow me on Sportscaster, and I'll be broadcasting live tomorrow. I'm getting out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Be peaceful. I will see you guys tomorrow. Make sure you go check. I did a video with a lot of Knicks fans, just giving their favorite Kobe moments. So go check it out. It's a pretty fun video. Guys saying some fun stuff in there. I even had to bleep somebody out because he started cursing all over the joint. But, because, he started cursing and all that. But still, it's a pretty dope video. I'm about to put the link in there as soon as it loads up. And then you guys can go check that out when you leave here. All right. If it ever loads up. I don't know if it's going to load up. Here we go. All right. Putting that link in there right now. And I will see you guys tomorrow. So go ahead and check it out, ladies and gentlemen. This is Knicks fans giving their greatest memories of Kobe. I'm out of here, folks. Catch y'all tomorrow. Peace.
That's the deal.